left center field. Edmonds on the run. Dives, and he's got it! Field! Number 70!
Van Peel out to deep right field. Has a chance to leave the ballpark. It's gone! A 3-run shot for Rick Ankiel back in the major leagues.
Swing and a long one. There it is, folks. Baseball history. A second Grand Slam home run for Fernando Tatis in the third inning in Los Angeles, California. And the Cardinals lead it to 11-2.
This is the Cardinals Nation 24/7 podcast, the official podcast of the Cardinals Nation 24/7 Facebook page and the Cardinals Nation Facebook group. Here are your hosts, Ron Nuttall and Chris Lollis.
Good evening, Cardinal fans, and welcome back to the Cardinals Nation 24/7 podcast, the official podcast of Cardinals Nation 24/7 Facebook page and the Cardinals Nation Facebook group. We have a busy night in store for us. We have guests on the line. I feel like we got a lot more than usual. I'm about ready to go find the leaf for the table. You know, when you invite a bunch of people over, it kind of feels that way. Cardinals have rattled off 8 wins in a row, and it's been amazing to watch because we haven't seen a team play this well in a couple of years. Correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, but it seems like it's maybe they've been on a streak, but just the kind of baseball, the way they're winning games has really, really looked good. What a contrast to July, right? So we're going to get into a lot of that. I want to talk about some of the local media. Chris wrote a pretty interesting piece there on his WordPress about constant mentions and references to the former management group in the clubhouse. So we're going to get into that. And we have special guests coming on a little bit later. Mark Littell, former Cardinal player, pitched for the Cardinals in the 70s and midway through the 82 season. And so he'll be joining us at some point in the show. Chris, how you feeling, man?
I tell you what, after watching the game Monday night in person, I'm feeling great. Just the way that game took off and the chance at a sweep tonight, Cardinals playing good baseball. How can you not be happy?
When's the last time you went to a game, Chris? There at Busch.
Honest to God, it was 6 years ago. It was Joe Kelly's first start. That was Tina and I's first date. Haven't been able to make it back to Busch until, like I said, Monday. So long overdue.
Yeah. I try to make it there at least once a year. Sometimes I've been able to make a couple, but this year I even made a special exception and took a trip up to Wrigley. Welcoming back onto the show, Jared Redwine. I know that you're leapfrogging every other episode, Jared, but we love having you on here. So glad you were able to take the time tonight. Jared, been to Busch this year?
I have not been to Busch this year, no.
I have not. Yeah, that's one field I haven't been to, so we'll have to ask you about the details on that one. My brother-in-law lives in the area too, so when the Cardinals come in town, I think he tries to make games. So he's a bigger hockey guy right now. I don't know if have you been to the Coyotes Arena? I don't know what it's called.
No, I have not been there either.
I think it looks like a nice movie theater on the concourse that somebody accidentally put a hockey rink in the middle of. It just didn't scream sports venue to me. But
I wanted to go. It's right next to where the Cardinals play, so it's in a pretty good. I mean, they're both out in the middle of nowhere. It's like like Hoffman and Arrowhead. They're kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but they're close to each other. But I wanted to go last year when the Blues came to town, but I was actually in Vegas for work, so I didn't get to go. Or else I would have. I went to Chase this year when the Cardinals came to town.
Yep.
I saw the Angels. I went to Anaheim, saw the Angels play this year, and I've been to Cubs games the last 3 years in a row, but I haven't been back to Busch Stadium. I've been to Wrigley, but not to Busch.
Yeah, I hadn't been to Wrigley since 2005. I gotta say though, you know, I don't like to give much praise, but you gotta give it where it's due. They have done a nice job with the renovations of that park. It does look pretty cool, but it's still Wrigley Field. It's got ivy. Baseball doesn't belong there. Come on. The Bears belong there. Speaking of the Bears, when they used to play in Wrigley Field, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've got my dad on the line. He hasn't joined me on a show since Father's Day of 2016 or 2017. That was the Father's Day episode. My father's name is Mike. The episode was called Mike and a Mike.
He's glad to be here.
Yeah, you better be. We have time for a while. Guys, I got to mention this before we get any farther here. There are only a few teams when the Cardinals end up playing them, I am just kind of left hanging. Okay. And 4-game series are absolutely miserable for me when they play Cincinnati. And guess who they've played this week? They've played the Nationals. I haven't been able to watch a damn single game. I've been, I don't know how much you guys could ever enjoy Game Day or Gamecast or whatever it is on the MLB app. It's great for like when you're at work. Sucks when you're at home, and that's the only way you can really view anything. Of course, they can get the audio feed from KMOX, which is great, but I'm looking forward to watching a game again tomorrow. Can we have a quick game update? I know, Dad, you have the game on in the background. Can you give us a quick what's happening? I guess not.
I'm watching it also. 4-1 National.
All right. Well, it had to end at some point. I'd rather have the streak snapped before the Milwaukee series, not during.
It's not over yet. It's not over yet.
Only bottom of the fourth.
Easy
with that Coors. What are you drinking there? Is that a Coors or is that a?
This is it's Omission. It's an IPA, but it is. I'm going to say it because somebody's going to figure it out. It is a gluten-free beer. There's only 2 gluten-free beers that I've ever consumed that are actually. I think they have real beer taste, and I love IPAs. That's my favorite. You have Omission makes this one. The other one is New Belgium Brewery, and it's called Gluteny, and it's a really good one too. So I'm not a gluten-free.
Really thin. I thought you were looking thin.
I'm not looking thin. I've gained probably 10 to 12 pounds over the last 2 months, and it's summertime, which is when you're not supposed to gain weight. I'm just retaining a lot of water and fat. So
it's Matheny's fault.
Yeah. Hey, so Bernie, every day, and generally I enjoy listening to his podcast simply because he has his thumb on the pulse of everything that's happening in the sports world in St. Louis. And I know there are others, but his is one that for the most part, I generally agree with most of what Bernie has to say on everything. But Chris, you and I were exchanging comments back and forth. He has mentioned Matheny every single episode, every day. He can't help himself. And I know we're comparing how bad this team was to how good they are. And I think Bernie has, on his scale, he has the managerial change, like accounting for, in my words, how I'm hearing this, like 95% of their success right now is due to Mike Schilt. Not the roster changes.
70. I'd say it's probably 70.
I have no doubt he's had a huge impact, Jared. He has, but it's worn on me too. Like Matheny's gone, he can't damage him anymore. Can we please move on?
Yeah.
So Chris,
we wanted.
Yeah, right, and I think most of us agree that was the right move. It came at the right. Well, maybe it came too late. You could make a case for that, but it happened, and it was the right thing, and a change was absolutely needed. Chris, you wrote a piece there. I read it this afternoon, but you want to elaborate on that a little bit more? Like what motivated you to put that out there?
Well, I mean, you and I kind of talked about the fact that his name's getting brought up so much, especially by a guy like Bernie. And the article that came out today, I think there was 30 reasons why we should love Mike Schilt. And I'm exaggerating, but 28 of those reasons had something to do with Matheny. And I get it that it's still like a new type thing, and there's going to be comparisons.
Yep.
But at the same time, to keep bringing him up and to point at his lack of ability to get it done, it almost kind of takes away from the credit that the ball players that are out there doing it and the management team we have now. It almost kind of comes across as a put off. I kind of made a joke earlier that, it was like kind of like an ex-girlfriend, I mean, do you need to bring her up every time you praise your current person?
You want me to answer that? Hell no.
Exactly. But I do understand it's a new thing, with Schilt taking over, and there's going to be the immediate comparisons. And that's not going to change. But every article, every day is just, it's played out.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, while we'll talk, this is one question I don't think that my last trip back to Illinois, Dad, I don't think we talked about this very much about Matheny being let go and a new manager turning over to not a whole new coaching staff, but a new management, a new person in charge of the clubhouse, a new voice, new way. Hitting coaches replaced. They're in Cubs Cardinal territory. What's the talk? What's the talk? Hey, what's the talk around the town, Dad? What are you hearing? What do you see, huh? Jesus, listen to me.
Well,
it's like I've never done this before.
I've heard nothing but good things about Schilt taking over. A lot of people were getting fed up with Matheny, just some of the stuff he done during the game, and some of the bullpen moves, left starters in too long. I think it was a good thing that it happened. I think that's the way it is around here. People love it. They're ready for a change.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear any of that. But Jared, your thoughts on this?
The Cub fans are really crying right now, though.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, like from a town called Canton, Illinois, it's just west of Peoria, and that whole region there, doesn't matter what town you're talking about, it feels like it's really 50-50 at times, I guess. I don't know how it is these days, Dad, if it's a little more skewed towards the Cubs, especially since they had won. I always felt it was kind of split, and so we lived this rivalry every single day. Your kids you go to school with, half of them are Cub fans, half of them you're playing Little League baseball with. Hell, your girl you're dating in high school might be a Cub fan. It was awful. It was awful. Chris can attest to this.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened. We're not going to ask you to explain it tonight.
I think a lot of the credit to the team turning things around. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. It's probably got to be the rally runner.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I mean, yeah. He's going to take the credit. That's about all I can say about that.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a discussion around that topic last night.
I did get to meet the guy though.
Yeah. So, Dad, do you know who the rally runner is?
I've seen a few things on Facebook about it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Chris snapped a selfie with him.
Yeah, I actually seen that.
Okay, so
had to do it.
Yes, rally runner. If they win it all, he might levitate.
Oh yeah.
He might not have to run anymore. He'll levitate around the stadium. All right, so that was just I've just been hearing again every day. Just Bernie seems like he finds a way in. He finds a way to give Matheny another shiv, and I'm just to me, I'm like you, Chris. I'm tired of hearing it. It's not a brand new team right now, but it sure feels that way. They're playing like that. I'd rather enjoy the moment and stop reflecting on the first half of the year. There's no point in really doing that anymore. And the people that are still angry about it, they're going to beat their fist on the table and demand, if this would have been done a month earlier, we'd be in first place, all that shit. It coincided with the roster changes too. I mean,
there's part of me that thinks some of these people that do that, it's almost like they want to be proven right that this team isn't going to win. So it's almost like they're looking for reasons to bring the whole mood down by bringing it up. And like you said, I mean, embrace what's happening right now. Winning baseball, exciting, new kind of, an injection of life, into this team, and need to embrace it and go with it.
Yeah, I totally agree. So that was for you guys, let's get our opinion on this. So they've been playing great. And Jared, you said it a little bit earlier. You think about 70% of this is Schilt. I'm not asking us to give like a market share study here on who's, let's not cut it up in a pie chart. I'm not asking for that. But the Schilt effect in total. Are we at a consensus here that I like the way this guy managed? They seem smarter on the field, right? I mean, I think they're just playing smarter baseball all around. They're taking better at bats. Look at their strikeout rate. Has gone down over this time. Now there's new hitting coaches now too, right? But they're running better. In situations, they're running when they should be running. The hit and run's been put on quite a bit. I just think that I have much more confidence walking into or welcoming an opponent to Busch Stadium or going on the road. I don't know how you guys felt, but take Chicago for instance, right? Internally, I had way more confidence when I was in Chicago watching them. It was around July 21st. Had a lot more confidence that weekend, and part of that had to do. So I knew there was a manager that wasn't going to the guy in the blue hat in the other dugout wasn't going to be ahead of him by 2 or 3 steps. I didn't feel that way with Schilt, but I always felt that way with Mike. That he could be outmanaged. How do you guys feel about that?
Schultz definitely more strategic, that's for sure. Managing the rotation, managing the bullpen, managing the actual lineup of the players of who's going to play, sliding Martinez in at certain times, making the defensive switch towards the end of the game, which Matheny was doing a little bit, but you can definitely tell Schultz doesn't let the game get out of hand. I mean, maybe can the pitcher get out of it? Yeah, but we're basically playing for a playoff spot. He knows all these games count. So he's managing that way, which is smart. He's also managing for a job next year. So, right. I mean, he's got two, things he's trying to accomplish here: get the team to the playoffs and also get a manager's contract for next year. But he's definitely managing better. I can feel bad for Matheny. I think he'll eventually show up somewhere. I think for whatever reason, his management style didn't gel with a lot of the guys on the team, and you can kind of sense that. I think with some of the players too. I think they've kind of been positive this year, even sometimes when they shouldn't have been. But you can tell, like you said, it's just a different attitude on the team. Some of these guys, like Bader's getting a good chance to play. I mean, we've had a lot of guys come out and play. I mean, I was going to make a joke earlier and say we went out and got Machado. Now look at us, we're tearing it up. We didn't do anything. We didn't get anybody.
We brought in Chase and Shreve.
Yeah, I mean, look at our rotation. I mean, the deadline move we did was Tyson Ross, or not Tyson. Well, we did get him, but
that was a claim, right?
Yeah, he's pitching right now, actually. But I mean, yeah, he was a claim. We took one from the Padres for once. I thought you'd be happy about
that. Doesn't count. If they didn't want him, it doesn't count. Oh, let me tell you another thing, right? You guys answer this question. Thank you, Jared, for getting me on this one. Son of a bitch, man. I was better this afternoon. So the San Diego Padres. So as I'm riding to work this morning, I know I'm not supposed to be looking at my phone, but I'm on. I don't even remember what. I think it was MLB top stories. Guess what's in the top 5? Shohei Ohtani. He's throwing again, guys. He's throwing again. All right. Does that excite you?
It depends. Is he throwing himself during batting practice?
The only thing I did like about Ohtani was the suicide squeeze the other night. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but
no.
He was on third and he ran that out well. But the bunt's a big part of that. I can't believe
that wasn't one of the top. Anyway, so I look and I'm like, oh, here we go. Ohtani. That's certainly top 5 story worthy that he's throwing. And then I looked and it said the location. It said San Diego under him. I don't like going into work feeling that way. I like to be happy. And here I am looking at not only a story that's non-news, but it's in the top 5 headlines. And then I just saw the word San Diego, and I almost just drove my damn car into a bridge embankment. San Diego, okay, what athletic body has occupied any space in San Diego at any given time that's been more worthless? Shohei Ohtani or Ryan Leaf? Pick one.
Ooh.
Didn't think you'd hear Ryan Leaf's name on a Cardinals podcast, did you, Dad?
Yeah, that was a curveball.
No, absolutely not.
No? Any votes?
No.
I can tell you who's the better story. Ryan Leaf is a lot more entertaining.
Right.
All right. Well, this is the kind of I'm sorry, Jared. This is the kind of derailment I do on my next show. So I'll try to stay on target for this one.
No, you're fine. I didn't mean to bring it up. I didn't know.
Yeah, don't ever do it again.
Deep underlying wounds there.
Some of the roster changes. There have been a few. We have some guys coming back though. And I just want to know kind of what's our feeling about this, because it's always a tough thing, right? When you got a team playing like this and you got guys on the DL veterans, they're going to have to bring them up because either one, they owe them money or a lot of reasons. But Wainwright is eking his way back. I don't know that might correct itself and be in September when they've got space to bring a guy up. Fowler,
he's pitching in Palm Beach right now.
So he's pitching in Palm Beach. It's mid-August. Yeah, they could extend it. I think that'd be a little bit hard. But let's see how they play that out. Brett Cecil was called back up last night. Webb went back down to Memphis. I'm not really sure that one bothers me too much. I mean, they owe Cecil still a lot of money. He had some mental coaching. I think Chris Carpenter, I think they sent him down there, kicked his ass or something like that. And I think, how do you guys feel? Cecil just, we need to see what he can do right now. And then if he still can't get his shit together, then he's gone. Is that what we think?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'd say you give him a chance or two, but that's what I'm glad you brought that up too, because that's what worries me. All these guys coming back, but we're playing well right now. Any kind of roster change to me, unless it's for an injury, is scary.
Uh-oh. Hang on a second, guys.
Ron and Chris.
All right, Mark.
Yeah, Ron.
Hey, welcome to the show. We were just talking about mid-season roster changes while the team is going well. So I'm going to throw the question to you, Mark, and welcome on. This is Cardinals Nation 24/7 podcast. This is Mark Littell, former Cardinals player, former Royals and Cardinals player. My dad caught me up on the history there. All right. My dad is also on the line, Mike Nuttall, and we've got Jared Redwine, who is one of our admin for the Cardinals Nation Facebook group, and our guy Chris Lollis is on. So, gentlemen, I'll let you say hello.
Yep. Hey guys, glad to be here. I'm really looking forward to this too. So, Cardinal territory.
Mark. Yep.
Welcome.
All right, Mark, real quick. We were talking about the Cardinals are playing really hot right now. You know, they've won 8 games in a row. And right now we've got a lot of big names that are on the DL that are, some of them we don't quite know their status. We got a couple names that are getting close to being back, up joining the club. And when a club's going well like this, you know, we're not in September yet where they expand the roster to more, where they have more spots available. And we're all kind of like, uh-oh, you know, something's going well right here. Is anything like that disruptive? It's got to be a hard choice here that they're going to have to make. Brett Cecil came back to the, he came back to the club last night, and rookie Webb was sent down to Memphis. But I don't know if you've had any experience like that. Team's going well, but you got guys coming back. How does that? How do managers think through that?
Well, the interesting thing is in my era versus this era is they're playing the option card here a lot more. So they're talking about a little bit of money, but they're also talking about, saving some arms, but they're also talking about, when guys get hurt. So you've had, a couple guys get hurt, go down there, and they're trying to come back, and then be a part of this team. But you also have the hot hand rule as well. And you've got several young hot hands right now. So you almost hate to destroy that. Those hot hand guys that are going out there, they may be young, but they're also getting the job done. So you don't want to destroy that. So you have to keep something intact. So
well, I've got now that you mentioned that, somebody you play in the hot hand, right? Guys, this is a oh boy, I don't know what kind of question this is. Philosophical, psychological, I'm not sure. I'm almost frightening myself asking this. I shouldn't be. But what if Matt Carpenter runs out of salsa? Mark, I want to start with you.
Well, it's a long season. It's 162 games. They're in the dog days right now. And he has a little bit of adrenaline, and I'm sure he's doing everything he can to take care of his health, his body, his psyche, to do everything he can. He knows what the circumstances are. There's a playoff on the line here. So, they're on a great run right now at 8 games. So he's got to stay there and only hope that he can continue to stay there. I wouldn't think around one man, though, because, you've got a team. So you've got several other guys that can step up to the plate as well, other than Carpenter. So, I know he's got a hot hand as well right now. He's doing well, but there's other players out there that can also step up.
Guys, I'm worried. What his garden could only be so big. You can only make so much salsa from a personal garden. If he runs out, can you just go to the store and buy another jar? Will that work, Jared?
No. Wainwright needs to plant him a bigger garden.
I wonder if you could do an experiment and just switch the salsa out to see if you get the same result. It's all psychological. And speaking of that, Mark, did you have any? Were you a superstitious player? Did you have any rituals or anything that you just had to do when you were going good?
I did when I was young, and then I finally cut that crap out, and it doesn't work, So you wake up one day and you slap yourself and you say, "I got to go out and play ball." Hell with it takes way too much of your mental game to do all the superstitious BS. So, it's pretty simple.
it's just fascinating. I know we had Brian Stoll, who's a media guy there in St. Louis, talking to us about some of those stories. If he had run into anything that was just really, really odd, and he's been around the Cardinal clubhouse for years, but he didn't really have much. So the Cardinals don't seem to really have those types of players. I always thought it was kind of strange, and maybe it's just just habits people get into. I still don't understand Yasiel Puig licking his bat. That's one I don't get. But Brendan Ryan, who was our guy, licked his shoulder while he was a bat. I don't know if you guys remember that or not. Just strange things, but it's funny. I guess you just get into habits, and that's just what happens. Chris, I want to hand this over to you because I know you had some questions for Mark.
Yeah, I mean, I know you get hit up all the time about the books that you've written, and I know you sent me one autograph, and I greatly appreciate it. But like, what are the best takeaways that fans that have read your book have kind of responded to you with? You know, both the On They God Made Baseball and Country Boy and Conveniently Wild.
Yes. Well, it's funny that you asked that, Chris, because I didn't know I could write. First of all, I wrote 3 books. I got a third book coming out next year called What's Up, Ramrod, with a question mark. It's more about the coaching aspect of what I've done. And they're all fun reads. That's the only way I'm going to have it. And so it just continues. It's in my voice. Everybody that has read it said, wow, it's just like talking to you. And I said, yeah, that's the way I wanted it. And it's not dull. The first book, to me, I started out at age 6 on the 8th God Made Baseball. And then I continue all the way through Forrest Gump Statistics. I'm not glorifying myself at all. I think they're just funny things. I was at the right place at the wrong time, the wrong place at the right time. And if you look at the last chapter of Forrest Gump Statistics, you got things in there like I met Lou Brock when I was 11. Yeah, at his first home game, he opened on the road with the 45s, with the Cardinals on the road, and they were playing the Colt 45s. He came back, and I had a broken foot, and I had to ride the elevator up, and I was lucky enough to do that. Lou Brock gets on the elevator with my mom, my dad, my brother, and myself, and we're going up to nosebleed section, and my dad knew who that was. He thought, and so he said, "You're Lou Brock, right?" He said, "Yes, sir." He says, "Well, we hope you have a wonderful career with the Cardinals. We wish you the best luck and really glad to have you over here." And he said, "Thank you." And he gets off on the second floor, because in Old Sportsman's Ballpark, where I went and saw my first games, that's just like the Cubs park at Wrigley. Their locker room is on that second floor. And so he gets off, and we go all the way up. And I say in the book, actually, I said we had such great seats I could see all St. Louis. So, there were super seats. My mom kept, saying, "Hey boys, look, remember that nice young man you saw? He just got another hit." And I said, yeah. So anyway, 14 years pass. I'm 26 years old. I get traded over to the Cardinals. I'm talking to Lou a little bit about first time I met him. He's kind of snickering at me because Lou never talked a lot. He just snickers. And so on his 3,000th hit night, we're playing the Cubs, Pack Park. Not only because because it's Lou Brock, and because the Cubs made the worst trade in the history of the game, well, on their side anyway. And the other factor is that I ended up picking up the win. He gets his 3,000 in the 4th inning. He gets a hit right off for 99, and in the 4th inning they have to stop the game because he got 3,000. It's a 2-2 game. I come into the game. I throw the 8th and 9th, and I throw up some goose eggs. We get a win. We get a big hit, pushes it over the top, 3-2 win. I get the win out of it. I thought that was great. I thought that was absolutely great. So that's just one of the little Forrest Gump things I had going, and it's just like Pete Rose got the National League breaking hit off me, and Stan was in the stands that night. And we're in Philadelphia. It was right after the '81 strike. We had it finally finished. And we came back on the field, and Rose is right there, and it's packed stadium in Philly, and Stan's there. And I have a broken bat to Pete Rose going to the 5-6 hole, and Ozzie. If Ozzie can't get it, nobody's going to get it. So Pete Rose got the National League breaking hit off me. And then, of course, Gene Tennis comes out and says, "Hey, way to go, big boy! You're in the record books again." That's his. He didn't say it like that, but I can't say the other stuff. But on the air, but Saber said, Society of American Baseball Research. They said Mark Littell lost 3 ball games to the San Francisco Giants in a 24-hour period. I said they were wrong. It was a 22-hour period.
Whoa, hold on. I don't know about this. What happened?
Yeah. Well, Boyer, Kenny used me in a doubleheader. There you go. And then a single game the next day. And
oh God.
I ended up drinking half of San Francisco out of vodka, I think. So hell with Anheuser-Busch products. So, and then we had the other factor I was the first person for the Royals pitcher to hit under the DH rule. Whitey came up to him, and he always called me Airhead. He said, "Airhead." He said, He said, when's the last time you hit? It was like in the 10th inning because he wanted to keep me in there, I guess. I said, A-ball. He said, you're up third. I said, okay. so, I got that one. And you guys might know this, but this will probably have to go in my next book. I don't think I put it down anywhere. It's kind of funny, I believe. But 4 years ago, ESPN or somebody called me up, and you get one of these interns, and they say, Mr. Littell. And when that happens, I say, yeah, what do you want? I'm giving them a tough time. And I said, well, your record might fall. And I said, well, what record is that? They said, well, you hold the all-time single-season strikeout record by a reliever for the St. Louis Cardinals. And I said, you're kidding me. I said, really? And so I said, well, who's set to break it? They said, well, Rosenthal. So he misses up by 3, so I'm still holding on to it. And with the way the game is being played nowadays, I'll probably hold it for a couple hundred years anyway.
That's right. Yeah, having middle relievers that stick, beyond 3 or 4 years is it feels like it's becoming more rare. I mean, guys like like Mitchell Boggs is an example just that popped in my head. Came up and had a good couple years, and then we don't find him. Actually, I found him out here in Charlotte pitching for the AAA White Sox AAA Knights a couple of years after. So.
Exactly. The funny thing, I didn't do it as a middle reliever. I did it as a stupid closer. I mean, good grief. That's how much they got me up. It was 72 games. I also broke that record, and I think Bruce holds that record now, Suter. So, most games appeared in. So. Well,
that's great. We'll keep an eye on that. That's
crazy.
Chris, go ahead. I know you had other questions, man. I don't want to.
Another thing, I know that the whole Nutty Buddy thing, and the invention of the cup and the videos that I've seen of you taking the demonstration to a whole nother level. It's entertaining to say the least, man.
To a lower level.
Yeah. You're still there. The Nutty Buddy, I came up with that when I was coaching with the Dodgers. I was eating my pitcher's butt out one day, and it was kind of interesting because one of the guys in the background, he said, I was just having some fun with it. He said, hey, Litt, why don't you just invent one? So I said, well, heck with you, I did. I went out in the training room, got 2 golf balls, and I went after it with some this stuff you put in a hydroculator. And I came back the next day and I said, here's your cup. They said, wow, that's pretty good. Maybe you should get a patent on that. I said, nah. About a month later, I checked on it, and I sent it into a patent lawyer, and he told me all the this and that and everything, and came back about 8 weeks later from the patent office in Washington. They said, well, that's free and clear. I said, really? I said, what happens now? He said, well, this is when you spend money. I said, okay.
That's right. A utility patent and a design patent. Those are not cheap.
No. So, and I had a good one because I ended up winning 5 awards over this cup. Nobody's ever won awards like that over a cup because it's anatomically, it fits. So I have a flex cup out. We'll be coming back out in October because we took it back, from the Battle Sports. Not that we didn't need to, but we wanted to get it out of their hands because we didn't want it in the big stores. We do a lot better when we don't do that.
Yeah.
And because I have a very specialty cup, and it's just not baseball. It's cricket's twice the size of baseball. But if you look at mixed martial arts, hockey, lacrosse, just tons of sports. Bull riding. Matter of fact, I rode a bull. I take those 90-mile-an-hour shots, and that's cakewalk for me. When I go on Fox Sports Science, Fox and Friends morning show, I go on Lopez show, and it's just amazing. Just having fun there. That's easy. But when I rode a bull, named Playboy, that bull tore me a new ass. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you. that not only did that bull tear me a new ass, it broke my damn pubic bone. I couldn't get out of bed for 4 days.
Oh my goodness. I was going to say, Mark, I think the other application could be wiffle ball in the backyard with your 7-year-old, especially if you're standing too close.
Yeah, the thing spins off right. You never know.
Right. Hey, I don't know if you have any idea, but Yadier Molina this year.
Yes.
Oh my God. I don't like talk about it because I squirm.
Well, we met with my partner met him out in Arizona, and I think he has used my cup. I don't know which one he's using right now, but we're getting him another one because our cups are coming back and being made right now as we speak. Actually, it's pretty interesting because all of our molds back in this country now. We usually have made our stuff with Craig and I in this country alone, because we do some stuff for the military too. So I've got a real good product. I'm very sure about it.
When did you come out with this?
Kind of a no-brainer.
When did you come out with this, Mark?
Well, the military one's just a ballistic cup, and that's a totally different animal.
They never issued me a ballistic cup, and I would appreciate if they did. I was in the Marine Corps. They didn't give me any ballistic cup. No, but what we had went out to the Special Forces and to the SEALs. So they were doing testing on this thing for like 2 years. And we didn't get it to the Marines, but we got it to some of the Special Forces guys. Okay.
I thought it was kind of interesting because you can hold a 9mm. It'll hold a 9mm. It'll catch it, actually. So I thought that was really cool. I've always wanted to do that shot. I wanted Gina Davis to shoot me because she was a pistol champion.
Yeah.
I said, hey, Gina, you're not so good looking today. Boom.
No. Wow. I mean, it goes to the topic. That takes some balls.
I couldn't watch the fastball.
Yeah, my God. The Marine Corps slogan is like first to fight. And I didn't have a cup protecting me.
Right.
Anyway, that is another story. That's very interesting. I going back to just, I think that's there's more awareness that you need stuff like that now. And so many times when I played, Mark, and I didn't play anywhere like your level or anything. I played a couple of years in college, but that's something that a lot of guys just kind of cheat on. They're like, what are the chances today? It's hot.
Well, the thing is, all the other cups are V-shaped. Mine actually, fits it. Each testicle have a place for them. Testicle A, testicle B got a place. Everybody kind of gets off on that when I say that. And I said, but that's true because, otherwise they're stacked on top of each other. I know it's what happened to Yachty because his came out. He just happened to hit and chop the shit out of it. And there you go. You go howling. And so there he was, howling at the moon.
Yeah.
And, but it's kind of interesting to get back off the Nutty Buddy. I forgot to tell you this because I do some really stupid things and weird stuff. When I was a kid, the second book is Country Boy Conveniently Wild. I blew up a truck with dynamite by accident when I was 15. And my dad was a Korean War guy that got shot all to hell. So he was already half-ass pissed off anyway. So he just, when my brother and I blew up the truck at age 15 and age 14, he was I think he was in awe because he didn't say a thing. He went in the house and I turned to my brother. I said, you think he's going to shoot us? And so good grief, But I did a lot of interesting stuff. I knocked an umpire out in AAA. It's in the first book. And that was kind of on purpose in a sense. But we thought the catcher would get kicked out. Well, it ended up knocking the guy out. And the title of the story is called Blue Angel. But there's a lot more to the story that's funnier as all get out, really. There's just a lot more to that story. And I knocked an old lady out in Cleveland. It's called Mistake by the Lake. Granny gets cold cocked. And so 60,000 people in the stands. And Whitey said, well, hell, the safest place for you, Air, is out in the middle of the field pitching. I mean, they already filled our dugout up with all kinds of crap. I mean, our bullpen up. About 20,000 people over there just, threw all kinds of crap in there. And I'm seeing this lady hauled out on a gurney as I'm out on the mound out there. I said, yeah, I guess she's getting hauled out or somebody is.
Man.
So they're kind of very entertaining books.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check it out now. Yeah. This is pretty awesome. Is there an audio version of it? Because I have a long commute.
I do have an audio version out on the first book, and it is in Kindle as well. You can also get those books on www.marklittell, if you can spell Littell, and then go .com on it, marklittell.com. And then it comes up on Amazon. But my ratings have been very high. I spoke at Cooperstown. Now, that was cool because on inductee weekend, I spoke at Cooperstown on the very first book. And that was a real treat because I spoke for 45 minutes.
Good stuff.
And that was big. This summer that was big for me to go up there and the first time seeing Cooperstown. What a sight! Oh my gosh!
I'm sorry, I'm still hung up on I cold cocked an old lady.
Oh yeah,
I can't get off of that.
You got to clear them out once in a while. I mean, I can only imagine that she's sitting there and she's sitting there with her grandson. And she ends up over in her grandson's lap. I put that in the book too, So anyway, and there's more to it because I'm telling you, I got in there and I said, the traveling secretary came up to me and said, "Hey, Mark, that ball got away from you." And I said, "Yeah." It was in the ninth inning. We were still playing the game, and there was like four guys in there and two clubhouse guys. And he said, "Did you mean to hit that? Did you mean to let that ball go?" I said, "No. What do you think?" He said, "Well, I'm going to ask you again." I said, "Well, you can ask again, but I'm going to tell you no." And so he said, "Well, here's what happened. He hit this old lady." I said, "Oh gosh." And I thought, my ADD comes out in me. So I didn't know, and my Boy Scout, that Eagle Scout comes out and that ADD comes out. And I said, "Well, do you think I should sign a ball for her?" And everybody they weren't laughing, they were howling when I said that. He just walks out the door, just turns around. I said, "Well, shit, I'd sign a ball for her. What the hell?" She's in some hospital right now getting, her head worked on, packed full eyes or whatever.
Oh, I was at a game, and I think it was 2004, and it was just incredible. Somebody got hit with a foul ball down the right field line. And they got they got hit off the shoulder, so they were fine. All the medical, the stadium medical team and everything goes down. That's fine. And then later in the game, another foul ball went over off the right side, and it hit a person off the head. Now I was with somebody at that game that day who ended up having strep throat. We weren't sure what was wrong with them, so we actually took them to the ER in St. Louis. Well, they brought this person in that got hit on the head with the line drive. It was the same person that got hit earlier in the game with a foul ball off the shoulder. Like, what the hell? What are the chances of that happening? 1 out of 46,000 people. Is at Busch Stadium too. But it was pretty funny. That's what are the chances of that happening? But pay attention.
It's a ball chaser, I guess you might say. A true one.
There you go. Hey, I want to give my dad an opportunity here to ask you a question, Mark, and to say hello. Go ahead.
Hi, Mark. This is Mike. How are you doing?
Hey, Mike, I'm doing just fine. I'm out here in North Dakota right now watching where the deer and the elk and the antelope and everything else plays out here, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah. I'm in big old Canton, Illinois, in the middle of Cardinal Cub country, and I'm fighting them Cub fans off. So
there you go.
Heck of a time.
Yeah, yep. Hog nuts are good to eat too. So whatever.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, I was looking at the 78 stats there. Looks like you had a great season when you got traded over. I don't know if a lot of these guys know it. They're pretty young. I'm about your age.
Right.
You were traded from the Royals along
yes.
with Buck Martinez for the Mad Hungarian.
Right.
I don't know if anybody knew that or not. In 78.
No. Yep.
That year you had a 2.79 ERA. 106 innings pitched, 130 strikeouts, and like you said, that's a record for relief pitchers from the Cardinals. That's fantastic here. That's when you guys were still in the NL East.
Yes, and I thought when I came over from the American League to the National League that I not that I was trying to get strikeouts. I wish I'd got more ground balls because I'd probably still be pitching today. But the funny thing is. I thought I would get more strikeouts because they had big swings and big holes over there. And I tell you what, I loved facing 3-4-5 DH when I came into a game, not 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, because they had, they potentially they could walk off of me. They'd take a ball, take a strike, take a ball. They walked, or they would just really shorten up on that swing because when you're throwing good, it's tough to hit. But if you got 3, 4, 5 DH taking big swings on you, I really like, especially when I'm on. When you're on, you got them on 3 or 4 or 5 pitches. It's easier.
Yeah,
put it that way. And
that's great.
You see these guys nowadays, which is good. I like the way they work. We always had a 13-second rule, and they do it too. But you want to unload that ball, a little bit sooner because you don't want to put the hitter in a comfort zone whatsoever, and that keeps the game crisp, but keeps your infield outfield crisp, and Yachty or whoever's catching. I know they want to get off that field. That's the whole key is to get off of the field, get your players off the field where they can hit. Try not to go 12 to 14 pitches a normal inning if you can stay within that. If you're going over to 18, they should be scoring on you, and you don't want that either. So
yeah.
Hey, Mark, speaking of that, I played in the high school ball, played a couple of years of college, and I can't agree with you more. I played in the military for a few years too. There's nothing worse than standing around out there in the outfield. And just how do you feel about this pitch clock, this thing that's been implemented now this time? Much of an issue to you, or you think that most pitchers in this league are eventually going to get used to that, like other rule changes that we hardly stop and think about anymore? It's just kind of been woven into the fabric. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think the coaching of any organization has taught us to work fast and get on it. You know, you have a couple of guys that want to take their time. You're not going to believe this if I tell you, but I was coaching in Australia for 4 years. I mean, I coached 18 years with 4 different organizations here, but I was in Australia for 4 years, and we were playing a game down in Adelaide, and that was in 1993, and they had a 20-second pitch clock of all things.
Wow.
And they would call a ball, and they did call a ball. I mean, I went, wow. Okay.
What a novel idea, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're halfway around the world and down under, and they're calling a ball on the 20-second thing. And you saw the 20-second clock out there. As soon as that ball hit the pitcher's glove, it went click right there.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, it went click.
Very
and
interesting.
then, you know, just as soon as he, started his windup, it went click, So there you go. And it was but I think it's easy. It speeds the game up. You're sitting there watching what slows the game down. There's a lot of things that slow the game down. Even some of these new rules have slowed the game down.
Well, the replay is definitely. I've been surprised with how long some of the. I think for the most part, I don't know how you feel about replay. I guess just from a fan's perspective here, I love it that they get the call right, but I'm just pissed that they didn't have it in 1985.
Yeah, well,
and you know what play I'm talking about.
Yeah. The one at first, yeah.
Yep. Chris, go ahead. I know you had other questions.
I'm just going to say, I know when we talked to you earlier, your plane was about to land, and you just went on a recent trip to Cuba.
Yes.
Kind of touch on that, because I know you do a lot of traveling as far as that goes, and also to hospitals and veterans homes, and you do a lot of stuff outside of baseball. So.
But the Cuba trip, that was my third time over, probably in 6 months. Well, no, it was about 7 months actually. And the first one was to get used to the country and a not so good, well-run thing when we went the first time, and it was by somebody else. The second time it was a conference, and I spoke, which was good because you had a lot of countries there. It was just like the UN. You had your headphones set on, and interpreters were breaking it down when anybody spoke up there. And then I got a chance to see some really good ball players over there. This last time I went in, I saw some real good 15-year-olds on the Cuban side. We had some 14-year-olds from Florida. It wasn't a hand-picked team by any means, but it was a chance to get them over there and see a different breed and brand of baseball. Different breed of cat is what I'm saying. And,
right.
I'm very sentimental to the Latino player because, they come over here and I know they're scared because I've coached and played in Panama, Dominican, Puerto Rico, and now Cuba a little bit. But I thought it was very, very interesting to see these Cuban ball players. They threw the ball quite well. I saw some 88s coming in there on a 15-year-old left-hander. Now, the bad thing is people always say, well, you looking to scout them? I said, well, I can scout them all I want. I can look all I want, but the only way they can get out of that country is to defect. And I have to be very, very careful since I was a major league player. So I have to be a real ambassador and come out clean with what I say. I have to really watch my P's and Q's when I talk to the Cuban government, right there in front of them.
Oh, I have no place down there then.
Yeah.
It's amazing that I do a show like this, Mark. Honestly, having growing up, when I say rough neighborhood, I don't mean a rough community. I mean, I had neighbor kids that were just mongrels. Dad, you know who I'm talking about. Learn words I shouldn't have learned that young, but I've had pretty much a pirate vocabulary my entire life, so I have to hold myself in check on this show as well. Jared Redwine, who's an admin for our Cardinals Nation Facebook group. I want to kick it over to him. Do you have a question for Mark, Jared?
I do
Hey,
actually.
Jared, let me finish real quick before I start. But the Wake Foundation, I'll be doing some stuff with the Wake Foundation, and anybody can go in there and look up Wake Foundation. But it helps. It is I'm going to the VA homes and I'm meeting a lot of the veterans. I've met generally 100 a day, and I sit down and I take my time on those guys if they want, and we have some good talks. We really do, and they like it. I like it. I think it's come along quite well. But I'm going to be doing a lot more of that in September, October, and I just wanted to get that in there before. What were you going to do? Ask me, Jared.
No, I'm glad you said that's actually pretty awesome. I appreciate you doing that. I think that's really cool. So. My main question I was going to ask you, I know you don't want to get into bad comparisons, and that's not where I'm trying to go with the question, but you played in Kansas City and you played in St. Louis. I was just going to ask, during the course of your career, I know you played on some good teams. What would you say your major comparison would be between the two cities, and as far as, where you played and as far as atmosphere and how basically going to the stadium every day? And
Well, the very first time, I actually played in the old stadium one game. I came up when I was in A-ball and threw an exhibition game during the season. And then in 73, I came up. I didn't even go to big league camp. And here I was 9-1 in AAA, and all of a sudden, who's this guy named Littell? He's 9-1, and if we don't drag his butt up to the big league level, we're going to lose him because of all the rules. I wasn't on the 40-man roster, so they had to get me up there. And so I opened in Baltimore. I did fine in Baltimore. I went like 6 1/3 or 6 2/3, I think, and gave up like a couple runs, and it was a no decision. And then we came back to the new stadium. And it was funny. I said to the meet and greet lady, I said, can you tell me where the locker rooms are? And she said, yeah. And she says, well, who do you play for? I said, well, I'm on the blue team. So she kind of snickered. She says, yeah, you take that elevator down there. I said, okay. So I punched the button, and she said, oh, and by the way, you'll want to go to the right. So, I got indoctrinated into that. But we were playing Oakland that night, who would end up winning 3 out of 5 years, the World Series. And so they showed me what real baseball was about, obviously. So I was just, I needed to go back and actually do some stuff. But they had to keep me there 30 days, by the way. So I went back. And to Omaha, I finished 16-6. And I was 20 years old at the time. And I actually went up ahead of George Brett. George and I signed the same year. We were both 18. He was a beach boy out of El Segundo, and I'm a farm boy that I took my my plow points off and parked him at the door, and he parked his surfboard at the door. And we walked in, and we said, this guy's kind of strange. And I said, yeah, he's kind of strange. So we kind of got along. So we're direct opposites. So worked out well.
Nice.
Everything.
Yeah, no, that's that's pretty awesome. Jared, did you have anything else?
No, my one last thing I was going to ask is, of your career, what would you say is probably your most? I know you mentioned some good moments, but what are you most fond of? What comes out first, or that you took away at the end of your career?
Well, when you're young and you go to the big leagues, and I didn't really finish your first question, Jared, about the towns. Kansas City. It's a newer town, obviously. St. Louis is old school, old money, which is fine by me because I've always that's where I saw my first games at, and I knew St. Louis a little bit as a kid, even though I grew up in the Boot Heel, 180 miles to the south. But you've got the red, you got the blue, you got the American League, you got the National League. It was all good to me because the people of Missouri, they do love their baseball. I mean, and that's the unique thing is when you've got a winning team over there in Kansas City in 76 and 77, the first 2 playoffs. And I was involved in those. I felt really good about that. I felt really good about coming back to Cardinal tradition. And I'll be talking about, Gussie Busch. The first time I met Gussie Busch, that was funny as all get out too. In my third book, What's Up Ramrod, with a question mark. And it's about the coaching aspect. I'm not telling anybody how to coach ever. I'm just talking about all the fun things that happen on the bench, on the bus, on the plane, whatever. But, That's the camaraderie is the biggest part of any baseball player, because even with the media, the journalists, all the sports things that happen, in the off season, and you've got dynamic town with St. Louis, which is a total sports town. I know they don't have football anymore and they don't have basketball, but they've got the Blues and they've got St. Louis Cardinal baseball. And the Cardinal fans, I'm going to tell the Blue this, but they are actually the best, and everybody should know that. For an area of 2.8 million, and you've got New York out there at 14, 15 million metro area. I said you got to say Cardinal fans are hands down the best. So it's common sense. It's just you just look and see.
Well, all of us agree with you. All four of us agree with you on that. Absolutely. So hold on, Mark. I lost my place here because I had a question for you. But let me kick it back to Chris. Let me relocate myself here on my.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to also kind of give you a little shout out on you're being inducted in the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. I mean, that's pretty good accomplishment too.
Well, I felt real fortunate. I thought they were calling me up for a donation, and so and all of a sudden he said, no, he said, we're going to put you in the Hall of Fame. I said, oh, well, that's pretty cool. So, all right, my kind of gig. Right. So I pretty much tell everybody about, the boot heel. And I said, well, first off, I said, if you meet somebody from the boot heel, since we're down there in that, earthquake zone in New Madrid County where I grew up, it gets a little wet down there. And I said, the one thing about boot heel people is, they're really good people, but you don't want to piss them off. And I said, but they're pretty damn good, for the most part. But if you take a gander and you look down at their feet, you'll notice something. They have webbing between their toes. It's in the DNA. It makes them run faster over that silted water, that wet water out there.
Wow.
So we got a little DNA difference in most of the rest of the state. So,
Mark, I want to ask you about in the 60s and 70s, they started introducing, I don't know if they were called that at that point in time, but they're called the cookie cutter type of stadiums.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know how you felt the first time you walked into one of those, but I played an American Legion high school game at Busch Stadium when it was still AstroTurf. I think it was 1993, or it was 94.
Yes.
I assumed we were coming out of a dugout, but we came out right behind home plate. I couldn't play catch for about 20 minutes. I was so dizzy because, when you're playing in high school or anything else, you're seeing all open sky, out beyond the outfield. You get your bearings quick. And I just could not get my bearings in a cookie cutter stadium. It's the first time I'd ever been on the field in one. I just want to, did you ever walk out in one and be like, feel dizzy or just kind of disoriented, or were you good to go?
Well, only when I was throwing bad. but no, the spatial awareness, I call it. Spatial awareness is a big part of teaching the player how to adapt and adapt very quickly. And that's one thing is I might pitch better in Dodger Stadium where I got my first win versus, the Giants ballpark. And I might even pitch better in Boston, which I did. And, pitchers hate to pitch there, but I just felt it was a challenge. And I think you have to actually put yourself, in the right frame of mind to go out there and say, okay, I'm going to change my mind about this. This is a good place to pitch, even though you might not think so. You look at Dodger dogs, Dodger Stadium, and you got Dodger dogs. I could always smell Dodger dogs, and I felt good about that. I was always trading balls for dogs in a lot of those stadiums anyway.
I've not had one of those yet. Is it equal to the hype, in your opinion?
Is
the Dodger dog? Is the Dodger dog, does it live up to its hype, its legend? I've never had one.
It's fine. They've got a lot of good dogs out there, but I think that they do a darn good job. I always tell the people that when I do it with kids, I say, hey, you want a ball? And he says, yeah. I said, you go get me 2 dogs, put relish and mustard on them. Do not put ketchup on them and don't spit on it, and I'll give you this ball. So it's pretty simple.
Mark, so we have a contest running on here on the show to one of our members of the Cardinals Nation Facebook group, which you are a member of as well. We're giving away an Adolis Garcia, who's currently in Memphis, was up at the big club for a few weeks. We're giving away an autographed ball from our friends at Fan Cave Sports. We have entries here. So I'm going to ask you for a favor, Mark. Can you pick a number right now between 1 and 46?
Sure. I'll go 34 as my number.
Okay, so that goes to Elena Dawson. Elena Dawson, congratulations. You are the winner of the Adolis Garcia autographed baseball, and Chris or I will be reaching out to you, and you'll be receiving that directly from our friends at Fan Cave Sports. You can visit them there. Chris, continue. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah. No, I mean, kind of like what Jared had kind of mentioned about some of the highlights of your career, and I know you kind of touched on a little bit of Whitey Herzog and the calling you airhead thing, but as far as playing for Whitey, just kind of tell us a little bit of the managers that he was compared to others that you had played for.
Well, one thing about Whitey that you had to like is he was an OBS guy, and Whitey let you be, he let you play. And, I'll tell you what, I played for Whitey in Kansas City and St. Louis, and I'll bet you he didn't tell me twice, really. I mean, he always shook your hand after a game, if we got the win or something. But, if he said, "Hey, nice job," that might be 2 or 3 times that he said that to me. He didn't, he never went around, patting you on the back and, stuff like that. It's, it was just very professional, and he expected it from us. That's what happened. He expected us to play to that level. And the other thing is why he would never have, if he had three meetings a year, really, that was, he generally had 3, and they wouldn't go over 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes. And when he said something, it was like, wow, I wonder what he's got on his mind today. We got a little meeting here. It's pretty funny.
How quiet was it, Mark?
He'd make it short and sweet, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, well, he called something like that, Mark. Was it pretty was there any sound when he was talking?
Was there what now?
Was there any extra sound when he was talking? Like, or everybody just locked in? Like, oh my God, what's going on? I mean, what was kind of the feeling amongst the team, the group, when Whitey called something like that?
Well, Whitey always had a way with words and the way he put his words, and I think that's very important. Even as a coach myself, I learned from Whitey how you say things, and he had a way of saying and putting together sentences that would come out for the whole. And, he'd make you feel relaxed, and he'd say something funny, and then he would, walk out, and that was it. So, and he didn't make a big deal out of it, so we didn't make a big deal out of it, and you caught on to that type of, that's the atmosphere that he put out there for us. And it went out and into the field. And we played hard, and one thing I like about, everybody does mention it, but you look at Whitey ball, and he liked to run. He had some line drive hitters, and he had a couple power hitters, and then he had his pitching in line. And Whitey said to me, and I've always known this too, I feel this way, but you kind of build your team around a closer in a sense, because if you ain't got a closer, you're in trouble. But if you got 3 starters and they're doing what they're supposed to do in a closer, you're probably going to go to a playoff World Series type situation. And because the pitchers, a lot of people put the hitters ahead of the game a lot. Nothing wrong with that. I get it. Everybody wants to hit. But, when it boils down to it, it's going to boil down to the pitching and the defense in the long run. And, you open this show up with Carpenter, this games that we're in the dog days. So it's the same thing with the pitchers. They're bouncing them back and forth between Memphis, but you've got some really crisp arms right now out there, and you got some guys that are showing some professionalism out there when they take the mounds. These young guys have done a pretty darn good job if you look at what's going on. And your center fielder's done a wonderful job. Our center, he's done a wonderful job out there. DeJong came in, and who expected DeJong to hit that home run the other night?
Oh, that was awesome. I mean, yeah.
Nobody expected that.
No. I've been really well. Here's the thing with me, Mark, and I don't mean to complain. Actually, I do. Major League Baseball blackout restriction. So I live out in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Sure.
Anytime they play the Reds or the Nationals, I'm blacked out because I'm a cable cutter and I do the MLB.TV package. So I've been in misery for four game series. Kill me. But the silver lining is I do get to listen to the KMOX feed.
Sure.
So how much interaction have you had with Mike Shannon?
Well, I saw Mike about 3 months ago. I actually, Mike didn't do it. The other guy,
John Rooney.
Yeah, he did it. Yeah. And John, we did a kind of a pregame type thing for a Sunday telecast, and I saw Mike down there, and we were talking, and Mike's Mike because I've known Mike for if you know Mike, you know Mike. That's just the way it is.
Well, when you listen to him for like 30, 40 years of your life, you feel like you know him too. But we know the radio personality. We don't truly know him, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Hold on. So we got a quick game update. Jared keeps pinging me here on the. So it's 5-4 Nats. So the Cardinals are scratching their way back. It's the end of this. Is it really only the end of the sixth inning? Jared, nod your head.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Oh my gosh. All right. So it's getting exciting. We could pull off 9 in a row tonight.
Right. That's good.
Mark, where do you put the Cardinals' chances? They've clawed their way back in. Philadelphia lost tonight, so if the Cardinals can pull this off, they pull themselves even. They are a wild card qualified team at this point tonight. What do you think their chances are the rest of the year?
Well, if they stay steady with what they're doing now, they're not going to win eight in a row every time. Lose 2, win 8 in a row.
Right.
That's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. But if they can stay, water, above water here, they've got a darn good chance of being where they really want to be in October. When that comes out, and getting it done gracefully, you might say. The Cardinals just kind of snuck in there gracefully, and all of a sudden they're a team that's contending, and those teams are spoilers, and you like to see that in baseball, and you like to see those teams that make those year-end runs, that last month.
2011,
and just stay after it.
2011 is something. They were 10.5. They were double digits out of the wild card and came back. I mean, just look at 2011. For people who lose hope, just remember years like that. Remember 2006 when they had 83 wins. Is that? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Who was?
No, it was me. I was 06 was about the same basically.
Right. I mean, who knew? I mean, who knew? You went against the Tigers, who had like the best record in baseball that year, and they were Titans. There was some smart ass sports writer that said the Tigers were going to take it in 3 games, like the Cardinals wouldn't even be willing to play a 4th. Anyway, Mark, I want to give you another opportunity to tell everybody where they can find these books, where they can see contact you, see your work, and all of that, if you don't mind.
I appreciate that. You can actually go on Amazon and look up on the 8th Day God Made Baseball or Country Boy Conveniently Wild, and it's or you can just type in my name, Mark Littell, Littell, 2 L's on the end, and then and just go for it. You'll have fun with the reads, no doubt about it. Well, and it's on Amazon. And you can see all the nice little testimonials that I've got on there. I've got all 5 except from one little grandma that, whatever.
It's not the one you beaned, was it?
No, it wasn't the one I beaned. I think it's North Dakota gal up here that she was. So I think he cusses too much. Oh, my gosh. Her millennial grandson's in trouble then.
Oh, no.
Well, he cusses more than you think, Grandma.
Yep. Absolutely.
Hey, Mark, it's Jared. I got a question for you. Where can people go to find you take a 90-mile-an-hour fastball to the groin?
You go to YouTube, Nutty Buddy, and then you go to the videos. Just YouTube Nutty Buddy videos, and you'll look it up, and you'll see all kinds of things. Fox Sports Science, Fox and Friends Morning Show. You'll see me in a cowboy hat, and that's the one where Playboy told me a new asshole, and and cracked my pubic bone, and I'll tell you what, I did not move out of that bed for 4 days. I could not move. It was terrible.
Well, you know what, Mark?
I tell you what. When that doggone bull threw me, I sat there and I kind of got up halfway and I went, wow, my legs work, and I got up 8 more inches. I said, Jesus Christ, I got no ass. What the hell's going on, folks?
That is awesome, Chris.
Oh boy, hurt.
It's fantastic.
But I did have that nutty buddy on. He didn't kick me in the nuts. So that was good.
Yeah. So you got various sizes in that, right? I mean, so big boys. All right. Cool.
Yeah. Everybody always asks me. They said, "What do you think the hardest thing is to get hit with?" I said, "No doubt, a bull hoof to the nuts."
This may seem like a weird question too, but you guys do have those in youth sizes.
Oh yeah, we got hammer, boss, hog, trophy, mongo. That's the 5 sizes, and there's no small. So when you check out up there, some little guy says, "Hey baby, I got a hog," or every 8th grader he comes up there with a freaking mongo. The chick, he says, "You don't really need that." I says, "Oh yes, I do." That's right, sweetheart. That's right. You look at this. I'm wearing a mongo.
I don't even need one. I might go buy it just for that reason.
I'm ordering one now. Of course, my wife would be like, "No."
Hormones flying around.
I'm gonna order one and send it to my next door lady neighbor on purpose. And be like, "Oh, sorry, did you get my mongo?"
Sorry, I went to the wrong address. You received my mongo.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, we got some patented compression shorts that are coming out with this one too in October, and then we have a jock. I think. I got a jock that I've worn for 5 years, and I'm about wearing it about every other day. I wash it once in a while, even, but I'm telling you, it's pretty damn good. It's good stuff, big time.
Mark, it's been a pleasure having you on. We got to do this again. I know you're loaded with stories. I want to hear them all. Well, not all of them, because I know you want me to get your book, and I will. All your books. But it's been so much fun having you on. We've been looking forward to this. I know that, I called my dad up because he's my dad's the reason I am a Cardinals fan. We've lived and breathed it our whole life. So I'm glad he got a chance to ask you a question. Chris, thank you for connecting all of us. We appreciate that. So, Mark, can't thank you enough, man. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you tonight.
Well, I've enjoyed the visit with you guys, and I look forward to doing it again with you. It's been an enjoyable evening.
Yeah, same here, guys. Anything you want to say? Go ahead.
No, I just we appreciate having you in the Cardinals Nation group, and the messages that you send privately back and forth to me. I feel like I made a pretty good friend, and I'm just really appreciative of all you do, even outside of baseball, man.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, same here, Mark. You take care.
Thank you.
We'll definitely do this again. I want to.
Go Cards.
Go Cards. All right, Mark. See you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Wow. Chris, I mean, I've only known just a bit from our conversation with you, but I mean, I could have had that guy on like for 4 hours.
He's gold, man. He's gold.
He is. He's something else, but that's great. And so I'm glad we got to talk to him. I know we didn't get to touch on a lot of other Cardinal topics tonight, but I don't care. That was absolutely fantastic. Can't wait to put the show out and see the feedback from the group, because what a great personality. We've been fortunate enough to have a few of them on here.
That was awesome. Yeah, it's good hearing those stories. It's pretty awesome. So just his take on showing up to his first game and I'm on the blue team, telling him where to go. I mean, that's kind of stuff that's kind of stuff we as fans,
we have no idea, right?
Yeah, we have no idea. He's just a guy showing up for work. I don't know where to go. It's kind of stuff is just neat because we don't ever get to hear or see that side of it. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he left me a voicemail earlier too. We'll have to see what that was about. I think he was just calling to see what the hell are you guys going to ask me. So I'll be ordering my Mongo tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right.
What size you guys are going to order? But
I'm going to order a few of them. Just leave them laying around. One in the car. Put it in the passenger seat. You pick up a date. Oh, excuse me. Let me move.
I'm sorry. Let me move my oversized nutty buddy here. Don't worry about that.
Never know when I might get asked to play softball.
The heady play, having it sent to your I'm assuming she's single neighbor.
Yeah, just send it over. I get several neighbors. It's the whole neighborhood.
Man. That's a heady play.
Door to door.
Dad, thank you for calling in tonight. I know that there's so much more I want to ask him now, but I'm glad you got a question in there. But thank you for calling into this show tonight. That was unexpected, Chris, because I really didn't know. I didn't know. I mean, I knew about this guy. I remember his baseball cards and all that stuff, but I didn't know a lot of the history. So wow, what a fantastic guy. But
Me either. I remembered, but I didn't. Right. Just so many great players come and go that we forget about, and he's got all these good stories and was part of all these big things, and be awesome. Yeah.
Well, and being a part of a trade with the Mad Hungarian.
Hang on. He's calling back.
Oh hell.
Oh, that's cool.
Hello. Oh, wait. I think he butt dialed us. He did. All right.
Classic.
All right. So I got to jump on the team rivals here soon. But Jared, as always, man, I know we didn't get to. I know we'll do this again next week where we can deep dive into the Cardinal stuff. But as always, man, glad you were able to join us tonight.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate it. The error bug's what got us in the hole earlier. We've committed 3 errors tonight. So.
Uh-oh.
Now it's bottom of the 7th. We got a runner on Wisdom's on first with no outs, and Carp's up at the plate. So who knows what could happen now? We still got a ball game.
Salsa time
is something good. Dad, hey, I don't know if you're still there or not. Did you fall asleep at the bar?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Hey, next time, if he's on again, ask him about 1982 because he pitched with Bob Forsch, Bruce Suter, and Joaquin Andujar. That'd be probably some interesting stories there.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah. No, if he's on again, we'll have you on again so you can ask him some of those historical. Some of this middle-aged crowd is not going to remember. We'll have you on again to ask stuff like that. Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Chris?
This was a blast, man.
It was.
Cardinal hot streak. Hope it continues tonight. Even if we don't pull it out, I'm liking the way this team's playing. It's definitely worth being excited about.
Yeah, I haven't felt this. I mean, to be honest, guys, we're probably on the same page. I haven't felt this great about Cardinal baseball for quite some time. So I'm excited. I'm excited to go into this. You know what I'm excited for, guys? To watch effing game over the next 3 days. That's what I'm excited about. So with that said, when you're not listening to us or watching us live, you can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, Radio Public. We're on YouTube live now every Thursday at 7:30 Central Time. You can find us at Cardinals Nation 247 on Facebook and at Cardinals Nation 247 on Twitter. Reach out to us. Let us know how we're doing. We'd love to hear from all of you. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. It's been an exceptional pleasure tonight. What a great guest. What's our any parting words?
It's got to be the salsa. Go Cards.
All right, everyone. Go Cards. We'll talk to you again next week. Love y'all. Bye-bye.